So I will be covering the impeachment stuff in my live stream tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern, but I wanted to talk about this story that I saw come through, and that is that apparently a man got in a fight with his boss, who happened to be a Trump supporter, the boss was, and the man apparently killed his boss for being a Trump supporter and then draped an American flag over him. So I'm going to read this story, it's real quick, and then I want to talk about the implications of this and what this means and how we should approach this. So the story's real short, but this is from the local newspaper, so this is from Click Orlando. It says, man stabs, kills pro-Trump boss, drapes American flag over him, deputies say. Mason Trevor Toney faces murder charge in the death of William Knight. A construction worker with anti-government beliefs is accused of fatally stabbing his boss, who was a proud, outspoken American and pro-Donald Trump, according to Orange County sheriffs. We won't go any more with the guy's name. The stabbing was reported at 10:45 at a construction site. According to the arrest affidavit, a 911 caller reported that his co-worker, identified as Toney, stabbed and killed their boss. Deputies said they found Knight dead to an excavator with a brand new American flag over the side of his body. Witnesses said Toney was spotted carrying a backpack, which likely carried the flag, according to the affidavit. Witnesses said Toney and Knight were friends outside the workplace, and Knight picked up Toney earlier in the day. Witnesses said Toney and Knight got into an argument, possibly over their opposing views on the U.S. government. According to the affidavit, Toney is very outspoken about his beliefs and has said the government is out to get him. Witnesses said they heard Knight yell for help and saw Toney repeatedly stabbing him with a trowel, according to the affidavit. Deputies said witnesses tried to stop the attack and threw things at Toney, who jumped into a truck and drove away, calling the witnesses terrorists. Toney was taken into custody at Brevard County and placed under arrest. He's being held without bond. So, what do we make of this story? So, the first thing that I want to do is caution any of us that are Trump supporters. Don't smear everyone that is against Trump based on this. This is not the fault of Joe Biden. It's not the fault of Bernie Sanders. In fact, this is just my feeling on this, but this seems to be more of an anti-government person in general. And so they could eventually turn out to not like Biden and Bernie and people like that as well. So I have been consistent that when Steve Scalise got shot by a Bernie supporter, I did not blame Bernie. I do not blame those on the left when these nuts take action. I didn't blame Bernie for his supporter and his field organizer saying they want to throw us in gulags. What I did say was that Bernie's policies and his advocacies would allow for people like that to ultimately get governmental power and would allow that power to go after people that they had political disagreements with. So we should caution ourselves, and we don't have all the facts in this case, so don't be spreading, claims that this is indicative of the every political party you disagree with. That's what the establishment does. And that's the point I want to make, and that's the point of this video that I wanted to focus on, was if this had been the other way, if this had been a Bernie supporter that was stabbed to death by someone who was from a right-wing group, if this had been an Obama supporter back in the day, etc., this would be spread as, you see the vitriol of Trump, it's responsible for these actions. I've said repeatedly, including about the Bernie field organizer, the video I did on it, Bernie was a hypocrite, as were all the Democrats like Pelosi. Every time there is violence that is seemingly committed by someone who's a Trump supporter, they say, this is because of Trump's rhetoric. Trump should be ashamed. He needs to denounce just this right-wing violence. Anytime someone who hates Trump or someone who comes from the left and listens to the left's rhetoric commits violence, they say, we can't just focus on left-wing violence and rhetoric. We have to condemn all violence. Bernie Sanders actually went out and fundraised off the shooting of Gifford and said that we had to condemn right-wing violence. Then he acted appalled when one of his supporters shot Steve Scalise, and he said, we have to condemn all violence. Pelosi said it was outrageous to suggest that we should condemn left-wing rhetoric. Yet then right back to Charlottesville, when a right-winger did something, they said, this is all Trump's fault. So what this incident shows is that the media is biased, that the establishment is biased. When they're telling you about, this person committed some heinous act and therefore it's indicative of everyone who shares some of those person's beliefs, that is a disgusting thing to do. We should not reciprocate. That's not what we should do with this story. I bring up this story to say it shows that when the shoe is on the other foot, the media, the Democrats, they're not going to be out there saying, oh my goodness, the rhetoric against Trump, calling him a Nazi, saying that he's going to intern people and all this stuff, it led to this horrible violence. We should condemn that rhetoric. They won't say that at all. They don't care about it. Heck, we even have the woman that's in charge of Bernie's campaign, one of the people in charge of it, one of his campaign advisors. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she actually joked on one of the network television shows or one of the cable news networks that it was laughable that poor Trump supporters getting beat. So don't take the bait. Don't spread all left-wing people. Don't spread all people that hate Trump as you could have reasons to dislike Trump. That's fine. But these stats you hear, these claims you hear that Trump's rhetoric's responsible for everything, this is purely a political tool. It's purely propaganda. And incidents like this that show that the media and the Democrats aren't jumping all over it to say, oh my goodness, our anti-Trump rhetoric led to this, shows that it's just propaganda that they're spreading. So, hey, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'll have a link where you can support me on Patreon in the description. You can support me on PayPal. Follow me on BitChute. Follow me on Twitter. As usual, I'll be doing my normal live stream tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be talking about impeachment, the anniversary of the Covington situation, and things like that. So, thank you, everyone, for being here, and have a good one.